Money, 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 money. I gotta talk about it. So, book money, invest in your author brand. I am discouraged and disappointed every time someone comes to me and they tell me about this amazing book and this amazing story that they have and say, well, I'm going to wait till I get money to work with you. We haven't even talked price points, and they're automatically assuming that they cannot afford it. So I always tell authors, never say I don't have it. Instead, ask, how can I get it? You are not given big visions and you are not given big dreams to think that your bank account solely is going to tackle that or is going to handle that. So I never think about what's in my bank account. I always go to the treasury. And I say that if you've been following me for any number of years, I don't go to the bank, I go to the treasury. I see what's on the inside of me, and then based on that, I generate things to get them done. But I've been asked this question so many times that I decided to put it in a book. So today we're going to talk about money on the books, creating cash for your publishing projects. There are several ways that you can generate investments, cash, all of that. So I want you to do that, but I also want you to think about how to invest in your brand as an author. You know what else disappoints me? I go to events and someone hands me a book. And on the outside, it may look fabulous, but then I open it up and I discover that it's bootleggery. You know that's my word of the century, right? So bootleggery is you didn't get it edited well. It's not properly formatted. It is not a bookstore quality book. We can tell that you thought that book publishing was easy and all you had to do was wrap the package and not care if the glass is broken on the inside. Okay? So we need to do better. So I wrote money on the books because I wanted people to think about book publishing as a business entity in itself. It is a business. It's a real business. It can be a small business. It can be a big business. Some people only live off of the money that they make publishing books every year. So that might not be your goal. Some people market their books for publishing. For money. I leverage my books for money. So I'm not always thinking about how to sell the most books. I'm thinking about how to strategically impact people's lives through my books as educational tools or lead generation tools. So you don't have to do it the way everybody does it. You have to know what's going to work for you and what you want to spend your time on doing. So I want to break down a few things. So I want to be very honest and say that we can tell when you don't invest in your brand. We can tell there is something that slipped through the cracks and we see the gaps in your investment. So here's some investment areas you can think about for your author brand. Hardware, computers. If you are going to take your career as a writer seriously and as an author seriously, you need to invest in the proper tools. I do not like Google Docs for professional authors. There are other, MS Word is great because it's for publishing, but there are other tools out there that you can use that will help you get a professional result. It's just glitchy with Google Docs. I'm not anti, it's just messy. And so I always have to take the Google Doc stuff and then put it into Word. Word, especially the modern versions, are so great for so many different ways. Technology, spell check, I always say, don't bring your book baby to me in dirty diapers. That means that when I get the document, there's a bunch of red lines under it because you just pressed the last period, the end, and you hit send. There are tools that are built into Word that will help you with editing, with accuracy, will check plagiarism, will make sure that the wording that you use flows well, okay? You can even use it to help you write the book. Hello? So invest in hardware that's going to work. Why? Because that's connected to the right software. That's why I'm bringing that up. So you want the right software for your career as an author. You know what works for you, but don't do cheap or free. I'm not saying that you can't get it done. I blogged my first book technically. I had to transfer the work over to Word, but when I blogged my first book, it was on an online platform, and then I copied and pasted it into the right format. So you need to make sure that you're using the right tools to create, but get it done. Do not be discouraged, okay? You also need to invest in editing. So beyond a computer, which you should clean your book baby up before you send it to somebody to read, have somebody on this earth read that book in its entirety before you put it out. There are certain things that may not be typos or misspellings, but it's a grammatical error. It's the wrong use of it, or something's not right, or you missed a word or something that you did not think about. So have editing if you're going to do that, or hire an editor. Now, some of us paid attention in English class and some of us were more challenged. If you are more challenged, you either pay now or pay later. That's what my mentor taught me, okay? You pay now or you pay later. So if you didn't pay back then, you got to pay now. So invest in some editing. Also, you want to make sure that the formatting, and I opened it up to the chapter of isn't that a coincidence? Editing and formatting, right? Money on the books. You need to make sure that your book is properly formatted. Do not assume. There's so many assumptions out there for emerging authors or first-time authors, and you can pick the wrong one. Fiction and nonfiction are not the same format. How are the page numbers going to be positioned? What about your endnotes, your footnotes, your references, your front matter, your back matter? The problem is we're guessing, and we're looking at things and guessing instead of making sure that we're making informed decisions and getting someone who can properly format the inside of your book. Also, cover design, right? So you can pay somebody who knows what they're doing. This is what I see too. People, oh, my friend does graphic design. That doesn't mean they know how to do book cover design. It's an art, right? So they're just designing based on a guess, not what's on the market, not any type of comparison or any type of business evaluation or anything. And I see this with graphics people, and I love my graphics folks, but some people keep designing the way that they did 10 years ago. Baby, we have moved on, okay? So always make sure that you go do your work and that you're current and know what the trends of the market are, okay? And then also you need ebooks. The same file for your paperback is not the same file for Kindle. So you may need somebody to do that. It doesn't take a long time, but there is an art to it. So if you want to be professional and you want to invest in your author brand, consider that. Also, audiobooks, my God. So I want to tell you this because I'm so happy. We have been talking about all through this month, all of these books. These are Rickesha Pittman titles, okay? All of these books, including the one I'm talking about today. All of these books. So I will say that most of my books are in audiobook format. So if you don't necessarily think that you have a lot of time to read, but you still like the messaging that I give, you can get most of 12 of 19 of those books. And that's because some of them are journals, okay? But 12 of 19 of them are audiobooks. 2 more will be loaded probably by next month as audiobooks. So if that's what you do when you go to the gym or you go for walks or however you do it and you like to listen, those are available to you as well. But it does require you to have a good product to be able to do that. All right. Also, you need great author photos. I don't know how many times that I've had author students and you send me a picture of you with a seatbelt across your chest, or you took a selfie and you're trying to submit that, not only for your author photos on your book that we need to be able to use, which needs to be high resolution photos, but also what if you do a book signing? What if you're a part of an author expo? What if you're a part of a tour or you're a speaker? You need to show that you have good sense, okay, and that you do understand branding by putting or getting the correct types of photos. It doesn't cost $1 million, but you do need to pay a good photographer or a person with a photographic eye, because let me tell you, some of the favorite photos people have seen of me are iPhone photos, but I did not take them myself. They weren't selfies. Someone who had a gift took those pictures, but I made sure that the face, you know what I'm saying, was ready for it, okay? Also, when you're thinking about investing in your brand, what about sales funnels? What about websites? What about marketing? That takes money. So you need money on the books. So if you've been thinking about that, not just I don't have money, but then what do I need it for? What do I do? That's what this particular book talks about, and it's book number 19 of 19. So you know number 20 is coming. This is the year, this is the year, this is the year. So with that being said, thank you for staying with me as we've marched into publishing since the beginning of this month. I have a big announcement on Monday, And tomorrow, I am so excited for all of you who have tickets. I am doing Marching to Publishing Live in Plano, Texas, in a beautiful facility, and we're going to get to it. I'm going to go deep and make sure that people are able to walk away not only with actionable steps, but feel like going on, okay? So that's March into Publishing, and you can look that up, and it'll be right there for you. And then Monday, I'll just be back here with a big old announcement. Great things are coming. Thank you so much to all of my readers. Thank you so much to all of my supporters. Everyone who has watched this video series, I have big, big things to share with you as we continue to march on and do the right thing. See you then.